Hello, this is me, Robertine. Sotir is here. Welcome back to the channel. This is part of our series, Lecture 4, How to Visualize Theory on the Instrument. From Theory to Practice, Unlocking Major, Minor Keys, Chords and Scale Studies. Dear students, in this lesson, we begin bridging the gap between theory and practice by exploring how to apply the concepts we've studied to real-world songwriting. We'll dive into understanding major and minor keys through chord and scale studies, specifically, how to build and understand chord progressions within 7 different major keys. For many beginning musicians, one of the most confusing aspects of songwriting is understanding which chords naturally follow one another to create a pleasing musical progression. If you are just beginning your journey into music theory, you might find yourself unsure of which chords sound good together or why certain combinations feel more natural than others. While music allows for infinite creative expression and countless harmonic possibilities, there are also well-established progressions that have stood the test of time. These progressions form the foundation of countless songs and are deeply rooted in the harmonic structure of major and minor scales. We will take a step-by-step approach to build chord progressions based on the major scale. Understand how to apply these chords on your instrument. Use practical visual tools, chord maps, to simplify your songwriting workflow. To make this process as clear and approachable as possible, I've created a simple, easy-to-follow graphic that outlines 7 major keys, organized according to the order of sharps. For each key, you'll find the 7 diatonic chords that belong to that tonality, clearly labeled with their corresponding Roman numerals. This will help you visualize the harmonic structure of each key and better understand how chord progressions are built. These graphics will serve as visual references as we begin the first steps to understand how to construct chord progressions. While we won't focus deeply on theoretical analysis in this lesson, rest assured that the system you'll be using is grounded in solid music theory. The aim here is to empower you to start writing, playing, and expressing yourself musically, without needing to worry about every technical detail just yet. However, as we continue through this course, we'll revisit some theoretical elements to deepen your understanding and give you insight into the why behind what you're playing. Learning the mechanics behind music is an essential part of mastering your instrument. But for now, we'll focus on playing and creating. So, with that said, let's begin our studies with the 7 major keys, based on the order of sharps in the sequence of 12 tones. Here are the 7 major keys. E major chord progression. A major chord progression. D major chord progression. G major chord progression. C major chord progression. F major chord progression. B major chord progression. Now, let us incorporate into the chart below the notes that contain sharps. We will exclude the note F, as it contains 1 flat, and include the note B, which contains 5 sharps, creating the order of sharp sequence. B, E, A, D, G, C. The first chord in our major key sequence is E major. We will now construct the E major scale, both in the diagram and across the guitar fretboard. It is important to emphasize that the construction of the major scale on the guitar fretboard follows a linear, horizontal pattern, played along a single string. The string used corresponds to the number of sharps in the key signature. As demonstrated in this example using the E major scale, this method aligns with the concepts introduced in the previous theoretical lessons, offering a clear and structured approach to visualizing scale construction across the instrument. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. Very well. Now that we have the 3 sequences in the theoretical charts, we are ready to start building the chord progression in E major. The E major chord serves as the starting point in our current study. In the context of the E major scale, the note E functions as the tonic, making it the 1 chord, Roman numeral 1, within the diatonic harmony framework. The 1, 4, 5 chord progression in E major, theory breakdown. To begin constructing the 7 chord progression in the key of E major, the 1, 4, 5 progression is one of the most foundational and widely used harmonic sequences in Western music. This progression is built by forming triads, three-note chords, of the major scale. Each scale degree serves as the root of a potential chord. To construct triads, we select the root, third, and fifth notes starting from each degree. To build the one chord from the scale, tonic, root, E, major third, G, sharp, and perfect fifth B. This is the one chord, the tonal center of the key in the chord progression. E, G, sharp, B forms the E major chord. To build the four-chord subdominant, root, A, the fourth note of the E major scale, major third, C, sharp, perfect fifth, E, A, C, sharp, and E forms the A major chord. This is the four chord, which provides harmonic movement away from the tonic. To build the five-chord dominant, root, B, the fifth note of the E major scale, major third, D, sharp, perfect fifth, F, sharp, B, D, sharp, and F, sharp forms the B major chord. This is the five chord, which has a strong pull back to the tonic, E major, creating musical resolution. This progression, E major, A major, and B major, can be played in countless musical styles, from rock and blues to classical and pop, offering both simplicity and power through harmonic motion. The relative minor. Now, let us construct the relative minor chords using the same procedure as before. To do this, we will refer to the theoretical chart for the natural minor scale. In a natural minor key, the 2, 3, and 6 progression is built from the first, tonic, minor third, perfect fifth. Each chord aligns with the structure of the natural minor tonality. The harmonic function remains the same as in the major key context. Let's explore the examples on the chart and visualize them on the guitar fretboard. The relative minor of a major key is found by starting on the 6th degree of the major scale, and it's also the minor scale that shares the same keys as the major key. In the case of E major, the relative minor is C sharp minor. Following the same procedure, the C sharp minor scale begins on the 4th string, serving as a visual aid to help internalize the number of sharps present in the scale. C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, C sharp, E, and G sharp forms the C sharp minor chord. Let us examine the fretboard to understand how major and minor keys interact. C sharp minor. E major. There are two practical methods for finding the relative minor of a major key. Alphabetical method, starting from the major key. In this case, E major, count backwards through the musical alphabet. E, D, C. Then apply the necessary accidental, converting C to C sharp, which is the relative minor of E major. Fretboard method. On your instrument, simply count 1.5 steps, a minor third, backward from the major key root. This interval will lead you directly to the relative minor note. F sharp minor. A major. F sharp minor. tonic, minor third, perfect fifth, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, B major, G sharp minor, tonic, minor third, perfect fifth, G sharp minor, D sharp minor diminished. Let's examine the D sharp diminished chord, which is the 7th degree of the E major scale, and explore some basic theory about the 7 sharps in its key signature. Tonic, minor third, perfect fifth, D sharp minor diminished. Message to my students. To conclude this lesson, let's take a closer look at an important theoretical concept involving the final chord of the E major scale, the D sharp diminished chord. D sharp is the 7th degree of the E major scale. And with that in mind, let me ask you a quick question. What is the relative major of D sharp? Leave your answer in the comments below. As we transition into Lecture 5 of our series, How to Apply Theory on the Instrument, and begin our study of functional harmony, here's a simple exercise I want you to start practicing. Mentally walk through the order of sharps or flats. Choose a note in your mind and ask, which note comes before and which comes after? When considering how many sharps or flats a key has, connect it to the corresponding string on your guitar, as we've discussed. Apply the same thought process to other theory concepts you've learned so far. This type of mental rehearsal, when paired with physical practice on the guitar, helps eliminate confusion and strengthens your progress. In the next lesson, we'll explore several chord progressions and learn how to identify familiar rhythms and songs by ear. These will be songs you've likely heard many times, though I won't name them. Instead, we'll build partial chord progressions and use them to analyze harmonic functions and determine which scales were used to accompany the music. Please note, this won't be a full song cover. The purpose of this lesson is to teach you how songs are constructed, not just how to play them. To help you absorb the material effectively, each step in this course is intentionally kept short and focused. That way, we reduce overthinking and promote hands-on learning. You don't need to think too much, just observe, visualize, and play. And whenever you're away from your instrument, keep asking yourself the same types of questions we explore here in class. Explaining this topic. Understanding scales with 7 accidentals on the guitar. Yes, when a scale has 7 accidentals, all sharps or all flats, it looks complex in notation, but it feels simpler on the fretboard. 1. Sharps and flats on guitar. Each fret on the guitar moves the note up or down by a half step. 1 fret higher equals sharp, 1 fret lower equals flat. 2. Many accidentals, same frets. Scales with lots of accidentals just mean more notes are altered from their natural state. But on guitar, E sharp is the same fret as F, for example. This is called enharmonic equivalence, same sound, different name. 3. Visual simplicity. Because of this overlap, the fretboard doesn't look different for sharp or flat keys. Notes may have different names, but they fall under the same fingers and frets. 4. Thinkin' patterns. Guitarists often use shapes and patterns to play scales, rather than focusing on the accidentals. These patterns stay the same, no matter the key. Conclusion. While notation shows all the accidentals clearly, the fretboard doesn't. On guitar, It's more about patterns and position than reading each sharp or flat. Thank you for being here till the end of this video, and I will see you soon. I can accomplish the following lesson. In order for me to do all this work, I ask you for your support. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share with your friends, even if they're not into playing guitar. Thank you very much. See you soon.